I've not noticed that.
It's not exciting, but I was walking down some stairs in my house carrying a big box, and I kind of tripped and I bit my foot back. And then I didn't go to the doctor right away, and I walked in a Mardi Gras parade about 3 miles with some boots on, and my foot was. So I pulled some ligaments in my ankle and my foot, so I gotta have it for a month.
Y'all ready? Yep.
Just a second.
Randy?
Yo, hey, you know,
Randy's
You're
got you
always
working.
coming back.
Randy's got you working.
it's a long trot from the bathroom. That's all I'm gonna say. But thank you. Just a second.
You gotta be careful once you get that boot off too, because what happens is, same thing, I wore down my right foot
Yeah.
and all the shoes, and then afterwards I was
Yep.
walking all
Sounds good.
Oh, like
wobbly, because
Well,
you
I
wear
think-
into one of the shoes and the other one you don't, because you're wearing the boot.
I think I'm gonna have to just start wearing running shoes.
Yeah.
Because they have the
Yep.
thicker sole. 'Cause
You are.
I'm already starting, my hips starting to throw out like a race walker.
Okay, Mr. Randy, you ready?
We are ready, set, and go. And yes, we'll talk later about broken bones and boots.
I know you have big experience with it.
Oh yeah.
Representative,
me.
your Public Service Commission bill was supposed to be on the calendar today. Why was it pulled?
Well, we're still looking at ironing some things out on that. I mean, at the end of the day, the whole issue is about affordability. I mean, Alabama has the highest utility rates in the Southeast, and the people in my district live paycheck to paycheck, and so this is all about trying to get our rates down, and it's about a Public Service Commission that's been failing the state of Alabama for over 100 years. I mean, we haven't had open rate hearings for decades. So it's, this is an effort to try to bring the Public Service Commission out of the dark and into the light.
How does
Oh, go ahead.
how does making these positions appointed going to change the public rate hearings and stuff like that?
Well, it's actually written in my legislation that you have to have a minimum of one public hearing a year. And so also in there was ethics reform, and no utility can pass on their lobbying costs to their customers. So if you look at actually the list of the people that pay the lowest rates, we're one of only 10 states in the United States that still elect their Public Service Commission. I had a conversation with someone from Florida recently, and the person that they just picked to head up their Public Service Commission is a retired nuclear physicist. I mean, it's just a different type of professionalism, and I think you could have a better job of economic development and setting long-term strategy. But at the end of the day, it's about rates, it's about cost, and that's what I'm concerned about, is lowering our costs. And we've been kicking the can down the road with the Public Service Commission for over 100 years, re-electing people that we, just catchy name on the ballot. This is an effort to try to modernize the Public Service Commission and to make them more customer-friendly.
Is lowering costs really as simple as having better people in there? Do you think that in the long term, appointing members is going to reflect on constituents' bills?
Well, I think running it as an actual regulatory agency, a professional regulatory agency that is customer driven, not politically driven. When you don't have to take, if you're running for the Public Service Commission and you have to raise money, have to go out there of the people that you regulate, I think that potentially that presents some problems. If you know every 4 years you've got to run versus an appointed commission that they can just solely focus on, on the customers and of our rates in Alabama, I think it does lend itself to having more opportunity.
Do you have the votes for your bill in the House and in the Senate? I had heard rumblings that the votes might not be there in the Senate.
Well, we have the votes in the House. We're still analyzing the Senate.
Just, with respect to the appointments, some people would say that the real problem is really the rate stabilization and equalization. It's the process by which we decide what kind of return the company should make. Appointing members isn't going to change that part of it. So why is this bill still?
Well, I think it's part of an overall broad policy. If you look at the policy of the Public Service Commission, it's been a just go along, kick the can down the road type of thing. And so I want to have comprehensive Public Service Commission reform. We need to look at, when we look at the people in my district live paycheck to paycheck. I mean, Alabama, the median income of Alabama is one of the lowest in the country. And you have to make tough decisions based on, am I gonna pay my utility bill? Am I gonna pay my car insurance? Am I gonna put food on my table? Something's gotta be done. So, this is an effort to try to shake up the Public Service Commission and try to bring some attention to it.
You said you're ironing out some details, getting things. What are those details? Are there specific parts of the bill? Obviously, the big provision is that it would be appointed, not elected, but there is a lot in that bill. Is there something specific that you're working on getting, you said you're analyzing votes?
Well, what we're doing, we're actually, as you know, legislation is fluid. I mean, very rarely does the legislation that you file finish up in the original form at the end. So, I mean, as a reform package, there's always things that you can put into a bill to make it stronger. And so that's what we're looking, is trying to make it more customer friendly, more friendly to average Alabamians, and just seeing where we go from here.
Are there any discussion?
I'm sorry, in terms of friendliness, can you give us specifics on what you're looking at, or is any feedback that you've gotten?
Well, the feedback is that the main feedback I get are people concerned about their rates and about the policies of the Public Service Commission. In Baldwin County, I'm in Mobile County, but in Baldwin County, there's a huge solar farm that's going up. People are upset about the way that was done. How was that deal cut? And so, I mean, it's those types of things that we've got to focus on. How to make that where the people of Alabama are able to have some transparency and see the way that their rate system, where the rates are done, and how issues like a solar farm, that all needs to be public. Every one of their hearings has to be public where the people of Alabama can see it. And that's not what we're getting right now.
Are there discussions about,
The issues that you're talking about have been talked about for a long time, and they haven't changed. What brought this to the surface now? Why is this important to do this now?
Well, I think from an economic development standpoint, it's hugely important, because for 100 years, every person that's ever run for the Public Service Commission ran on lowering rates, but yet somehow the rates are never lowered. They just gradually creep up and up and up. And I think we're at a point where we have to do something. From an economic development standpoint, Alabama is set to take off. All the trends are going up, but our power is what is really hurting people. The cost of electricity is a kitchen table issue that is discussed in the bulk of the calls that I get, and the bulk of the calls that other representatives get, are about their cost. The regulated utilities. I mean, you have to remember, 24% of Alabama doesn't have a regulated energy company under the Public Service Commission. They're Tennessee Valley Authority. But those of us that do know that we have to shake this up and to have to do something about it.
are there any discussions about keeping the positions elected but keeping the rest of your bill intact?
Well, we're looking at all things. I do prefer an appointed Public Service Commission, because I think you just get more of a professional type person, and they are accountable. If you noticed, yesterday there was a bill that passed that allows for people to be taken off of boards and regulatory authorities. I think that comes into play. That's important here, because if you had someone that wasn't showing up to meetings or was a rogue commissioner, there is that option to take them off. In the current system, we don't have that.
Does that also lend itself to political maneuvering for people not to want to get, removed? There's no provision for cause in the bill that you're talking about. So,
Well, I think it takes politics out of it, actually, because if you're not having to raise money, and if you're not having to focus on every 4 years having to have that money, the people that you regulate, then I think that takes the politics out of it. But we're looking at everything, basically. I mean, it is a reform package, and we want to make it the best reform package that we can have to take care of the people of the state of Alabama.
I have two quick questions. Are you all open to legislatively forcing the PSC, whether it be appointed or elected, through this bill to a rate case rather than the formula rates? Because we've talked about rates, and that seems to be where it all goes back to.
I'm very open to that. I am. I mean, like I've said from the beginning, my goal is to help out the people of my district in the state of Alabama. I mean, when people, I represent a lot of commercial seafood in my district. That's a hard scrabble life. And when you take in energy costs, that's a big chunk of their paycheck coming home. So my job with all of this has been trying to give some relief to the people of my district, to the people of the state. And so I'm open to looking at all things.
Can you say explicitly that Alabama Power is not involved or behind this bill? Because that's been a part of the conversation since this was introduced.
My understanding is they're neutral on this, This idea came out of the people in my district talking to me, talking to other members, and so that's what it is moving forward.
But have they talked to you about it?
No, about this legislation, no, other than that they're neutral about it. That they stay out of that stuff usually, so.
Georgia elected 2 Democrats to their Public Service Commission. To what extent is this related to that?
Well, I will tell you, the dark money, which is Soros money and Walton Foundation, Tides Foundation, Rockefeller, it's here. If you look at PACS, if you look at Energy Alabama, you look at those groups, it's the same groups that did that in Georgia. So it is a concern. It's a concern on both sides. Dark money coming into Alabama politics is a concern. I've actually had discussions with people on the other side of the aisle about that, and they realize it's a problem also, because you're going to try to bring Californization to Alabama is what it is. I mean, it's essentially outside forces trying to come into Alabama to influence our politics. And things like the solar farm in Stockton, that would just be the beginning. I mean, 100% renewable energy is not sustainable. They tried that in Europe. They tried that in Texas a few years ago. They had the big ice storm that knocked out most of their solar systems. And in Germany is a great example. In Germany, they moved everything to wind and solar, but they can't provide enough energy for their people. So it is a big concern. I think dark money as a whole has no place in Alabama. And that's something we need to strengthen our laws to try to keep out foreign influence into our political systems in the state. So, go ahead.
Is it dark money, or is it the fact that Democrats won in Georgia?
No, I think it's dark money in general. I'll acknowledge there's money on both sides of the aisle. I think it's a problem. When we talk about reform, we need to reform some of those systems as well. I mean, outside influence it's dangerous. It really is. When you get money coming in that's tied to some type of ideological agenda, whether it be on the right or on the left, I think it's a problem. And I think it's something that we, as a legislative body, need to address.
Representative, I wanted to get your reaction. One of the biggest criticisms of this bill is, I believe the words that were used somewhere along the lines of legalizing bribery, just because as it stands, candidates for PSC cannot take money from Alabama Power or gifts, but it's my understanding that some of the people that may be appointing them could or have in the past. What is your reaction, or how would you call people's numbers?
Well, I mean, my response to that is, I know who said that, and that was Energy Alabama. Where's their money coming from? I mean, where's their money coming from? Disclose where their money's coming from. I mean, Bill Britt wrote an excellent column yesterday about their budget and how for years they were for an appointed PSC, and then their budget increased, and all of a sudden they're for elections. That ties right into dark money coming in, out of state, flowing in, and going to be spent in our election system. So, I mean, I reject that, and I think that's just absurd.
Do you believe that all pushes for renewable energy in Alabama are being funded by dark money or outside sources?
No, not at all. I think that there are people whose hearts are in the right way, and I'm not 100% against renewable energy, but when that becomes your model of that's all you want is solar systems or wind systems, I reject that. I think that's going to be a total failure. I mean, we have natural gas that is proven as clean burning natural gas to fire our power plants, and so with that, and there's no need to have 100% renewable.
Do you believe renewables?
At the end of the day, on the renewables, where do the windmills go? Where do the solar panels go? They're not recyclable. So then you're actually just creating a problem by itself right there.
Do you think your bill will be back this session?
I don't know. I hope so, because I think it's a desperate need that we need to reform the Public Service Commission.
There's so many legislators that are on both sides of this bill. It's obviously a priority for all of you in the legislature. Can you talk a little bit about how the importance of that? I know that the PSC has gained a lot of traction in the public as people are starting to realize, how their rates come to be. But how big of an importance is that to you guys moving forward?
Well, I think it's very important. If anything out of this, we've brought attention to the Public Service Commission. I mean, for 100 years, it used to be the Public Service Commission was the jumping off point to run for governor. If you go back and look, historically, the 30s, 40s, many of Alabama's governors came out of that. But over the last 50 years, let's say, a lot of people couldn't tell you what the Public Service Commission does or who their commissioners are. So, one of the things that has to be brought to the attention is what the Public Service Commission does and who they are and how to reform that and put that center of attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.